Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News digital desk. One person has died after a tree has fallen on an Akron house. This due to the storms that took place last night. It was a 33-year-old man that was killed during the storms. And in fact, that home now being demolished as we speak. Our Colton Molesky has been on the scene watching this take place. Colton, you saw the video earlier today from the Ring camera. You're now watching the house come down. The damage must have been pretty significant for this to be the case, and for this home to need to be taken down immediately.
Yeah, and Jeff, now that they're starting to take down the house, you can really get a good look at some of that damage here to this home on Sumner Street. Let's take a look. They just started demolishing this house about 10-15 minutes ago, and you can see just how much of the tree is on the other side of that home. You can see these huge pieces of trunk leading to the top of that tree that they're trying to pull off of that house. And you can see, actually, I know that there's a lot of disrepair from them demolishing the house, but if you look right up to the top of the house on the right-hand side, you can see the gashes where that tree went through on the other side when it initially fell. Now, it took them some time. They were telling us that it was taking some time to get the victim, that 33-year-old male that the medical examiner identified as a 33-year-old man. Took them a while to get the victim actually out because of how compromised the building had been by the initial fall from the tree. And now that you're seeing this house come apart, you can see why, just how much of that other side of the wall was already torn down by that house. And they said that the tree was going through that floor as well. So a lot of structural damage happened when that tree went over, a huge tree to go over on the home. And now you're seeing just what it's taking to actually move that tree trunk. You're having to go through the house to get those big pieces of the top of that tree out of the way. So again, this started just about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes ago, and they've been here since around 10:30 when that call came into this area, when that call from Sumner Street came into the Akron Fire Department. Again, no ID on the victim, just that it's a 33-year-old male that was killed when that tree went over, Jeff.
Colton, we're looking at the screen right now, behind your right shoulder on our left-hand side of the screen. That's the tree that went down. I mean, how far was the debris just from the tree itself to show the size of how big this thing was?
Well, I mean, you can see it's all the way, it's covering part of the sidewalk down here to the right of the house. You can actually see on the neighboring house, there's quite a bit of the siding, some of that roof actually pulled down by that tree as well. And you can just see how long the branches are when they're on the ground. There's a guy standing right here working this hose. That's a pretty solid reference point if you want to see how big, look at how big those trees are compared to that gentleman standing there working the fire hose. So a really big portion of that tree was on the other side of the house. That's how big it was that they were cutting and working off pieces that were in the home that fell through the roof, and that's how much of the tree was just on the other side of the home.
Colton, that's crazy to see that it not only severely damaged that first home, but that second home as well got a decent amount of damage. That is insane to see.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage, and you referenced the video that you showed earlier, but you see just the wind coming, that tree start to shake, and then that crash down right through. When you're watching that video, it looks like it goes all the way through into the floor that divides the first and second floors. So you saw just how far through the roof it crashed as well. It kind of speaks to the weight. When you were looking at that video, you can estimate just how much weight was coming down on top of this house as well.
All right, Colton Molesky, we're going to let you get back to working on TV. We're going to keep the shot up, though, and if you do get any updates, if you don't mind turning your mic on, letting us know. We'd appreciate that, but we'll let you get back to work. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So as Colton continues to survey the scene, we're going to keep an eye on this, and we're going to keep watching this. Now, like I told Colton as well, if there is any more updates that we get, he'll just jump on and share that with us as things progress. He's going to be back on TV at 5 o'clock. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick with this until then. So we're going to continue to show you. I'll bring up the mic a little bit as well so you can hear the noises there. What I want to explain throughout all of this as well is what we have seen since this has started. They are moving really fast on this demo. I would say I've been watching for maybe less than 10 minutes. As Colton said, they started probably about a quarter past or quarter after the hour, about 4:15 on this demo. The speed in which they're working on this shows that there has to be some sort of structural issue that is fundamental that they cannot wait on. They have to continue on, and they have to move on this. And you're watching how fast they're actually going through this, and look at the veracity in which they're just kind of digging through and cutting through that whole thing. This shot, this wide shot, in my opinion, shows the best view of it, because you can see, obviously, the cavern that was a home. You can see where that tree is, but also on the right-hand side, past where the construction equipment is, you can see the damage that was done to the side of that home. You can see just how far stretching that tree actually was. So right now I'm trying to pull up the video that Colton was referencing, and that's the video that shows the camera after the tree fell to the ground. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to try and make sure we can pull this up. So I'm going to try and get that up here really quickly. 1 second. Yeah, my colleague Dan DeRose pointing out a really great point here. This is essentially like a house fire where everything in there is gone. They didn't have a chance to pull things out. They didn't have a chance to move things. A tree fell into the home, and now all of the stuff that's in there is demolished. It's demoed. It's being demoed, and it's a home where, if that hole did not exist, seemed to be in fine structural shape. Even if you would be looking at it from a certain angle, you wouldn't assume that there was something that was fundamentally wrong with the home itself. For those of you that are just joining, for those that just jumped onto our digital stream here, one person has died. A 33-year-old man was killed during storms last night after a tree fell on the Akron home. What you are seeing is the second half of the complete demolition of the home. I'm going to explain what we're looking at here. On the left-hand side of your screen, closer to the middle, you're going to see what is left of the tree that fell on this home. In the middle, that's the house. And you can see that this is a full-on, complete demo of that home. Fire crews in the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, spraying water on it to ensure that no electrical fires, things like that, happen as a result of the demo that they're doing. But watch in which they are taking this thing down. This started less than 20 minutes ago, maybe at max 30 minutes ago. Colton, if you're hearing me, just text me what exactly that number is. You don't have to jump on, I won't make you do that, but just for the exact timing on that. But this has been a very rapid demo of this home. That is in the center. Look in the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, basically to the left of that fire department truck right there, okay? That is pieces of the tree that is still there to show you how massive that tree was. A little above that, look at the home that is next door. There was damage done to the second floor near that window. There was damage done that we saw to the siding on the the left-hand side, excuse me, of the home, but the right-hand side of your screen. All of these things happening as a result of this massive tree falling to the ground due to the heavy storms that were seen last night in Akron. Yeah, look at the way that that's coming down.
Just real quick,
Colton,
just because as they continue with this demo, you're seeing this truck is moving out of the way a little bit, so you're seeing more of this tree and just how big this tree is. You're getting a view of just how massive the tree was that fell on this home. You can see now a good comparison if you're comparing it to the tread there on the vehicle. You can see just how high off the ground that trunk is sitting and how big around it is. So a really massive tree that fell over. I know you showed it's a really sombering video of the tree falling over on the home, and you can kind of see how big it is compared to the roof. And now you're seeing, now that it's on the ground next to people, vehicles, you're getting a real good perspective of when that how big that tree was. Again, we started this demo process around 4:15, 4:20 is when they started demolishing this house, and they have been going right through. They are moving really quickly, working really efficiently to get this house down and get these big pieces of trunk moved.
Colton, I do have a question for you. Our colleague Dan DeRose brought up this point. Can you see into the home to see what stuff is left, essentially? Like is there furniture? Does it look like they're basically just demoing it without allowing them to have removed anything?
You know, that's a great question. You can see, actually, if you look on the left-hand side, our left-hand side of this truck, you're seeing some shelving. You're seeing some, it looks like some bags right there, some boxes coming down. So I don't know exactly what the status of the house was, if it was open for rent, if there were people living there, but there's definitely possessions, there's definitely furniture, there's definitely boxes and bags, and there's stuff in this home that is getting destroyed right now.
Yeah, that shot that you just had, that's horrible. The way that came down, it looked like it was almost like a bathroom or something just falling down.
Yeah, again, I do not know what the situation was with the house. There was a sign that was advertising to students for rentals on the front of the house that was shown a while ago before the demolition began. But so I don't know the status if there was openings for rent or if someone was living there, but there's definitely possessions in this house. There's definitely someone's belongings in this house now getting thrown into this massive pile as you see the demolition continue.
And Colton, how close are you actually to Akron, the school?
That's an excellent question. I'm not 100% sure how close we are. Do you know how close we are to the school itself, would you say?
I haven't looked at, but it's University of Akron. I haven't looked at a map.
So you're in the generic area.
Stand by, Jeff. We're looking right now.
Okay. Essentially, what we're looking to find out here is, obviously the proximity. He said there that they were looking for.
It's a couple blocks away from the main campus.
Yeah.
About 2 blocks away.
We're about 2 blocks away from the main campus.
Wow. Yeah, so you can see why student housing would be a priority there.
Absolutely, and standing here, especially early on when the fire department was still here, there were a lot of students. I mentioned in one of the live shots, there was a lot of students standing, watching on as the fire department was here. There's a lot. The banner on the front of the house was not the only banner advertising for student housing. So this is definitely an area where you expect. Thank you. Yeah, right there. There's another banner. There's one across the street. This is definitely somewhere where they are catering to student renters.
And Colton, really quickly, for people that have jumped onto our digital stream a little late here, just one more time, explain what you've seen since the demolition started a couple of minutes ago, or an hour ago or so.
Absolutely. We had demolition starting around 4:15, 4:20. They came in and started taking apart first the porch, then working their way through the second floor. And as you can see now, they're taking apart the last of the roof, and you really got a good idea of how much of the tree that fell on this home and tragically killed a 33-year-old man. That's according to the county medical examiner. How much of that tree was on the other side of the home. You can see damage to the neighboring home from the roof down the side of that house. And there's just a huge amount of this tree on the other side of the home, just giving you a perspective of how big the tree was originally. I know, Jeff, you showed that sombering video as well of the tree initially falling over onto the house. And so between that video, between what's on the other side of this house, between the original trunk that you see there next to the left side of the house from the street view, just the size of that house. And as this truck worked its way through the home, you saw possessions. Again, we don't know the status, if there was openings for rent, if anyone was actually living there at the time, but there's shelving, there's furniture, there was boxes and bags. There's someone's possessions were in this home as it's getting demolished, so there were items there. I don't know whose they were or what the status was of the rental situation, but there were definitely boxes, shelves, bags in the home as we've watched it get demolished. And now they're all the way, you can see that they're all the way to that back wall of the house.
Colton Molesky, you've been on scene all day. We will let you get back to your regularly scheduled stuff. But again, we're going to keep the shot up. And again, Colton, if you have anything to add, of course, please jump in. But I don't want to take all of your time here, so we'll let you get back to working for TV. But yeah, anything that Colton has, of course, he will jump in and let us know. What you're seeing right now on the left-hand side of your screen is the live demolition that is taking place of that home. On the right-hand side, that is video that we recorded earlier. That shows you the ring camera of the tree falling on top of the home, and then the aftermath. Look at how large the gash is in that roof. Again, we're showing it to you on the right-hand side. That is when that tree fell through. That shows you just how large that tree was and just how much damage it could have caused and then ultimately did cause. And then this is the aftermath. Right there, you see the massive hole in the roof of the home, and you can see it much more close up from that point of view. You can see the sign as well, advertising for students. Let's go back out live right now as the home is just a shell of what it previously was, even just minutes ago. Again, the speed in which they are demolishing this home, I want to stress that. Colton mentioned that this happened, or the demolition started at like 4:15-ish, right? So we are less than an hour from when it initiated, and they are going as fast as humanly possible on this demolition. Again, one person has died. We do not know the name of that person, but a 33-year-old was killed during storms last night. As you heard our Colton Molesky discuss there, the proximity to the University of Akron, it's about 3 blocks. So very close, very much so a home that is rented out for students. This view also gives you a great look. If you look on the right-hand side of your screen there, that's the home next door. You can see the damage that was done from that tree during that storm, just to show you how massive that tree was. I mean, the trunk speaks for itself there, but you can just see that other homes were also affected by this, in addition to the home where a 33-year-old was killed. That demo, again, less than an hour in. We are still awaiting to learn a little bit more on this, as far as the actual name of the person that died there. But this demo expected to go until that thing is to the ground, as Colton had said. What he alluded to, there were belongings still in that home, made it seem like very much so lived in. Unsure how lived in, depending if students had moved out, if one person was only living in that home, and normally many more are. Well, let's pull up the audio. There we go. Sorry. But all that remains now of the home is the back of the home. You can see them patting some of that down as well. Let's see if they take on that last area in the back there too as well. Storms last night causing this damage. We haven't heard of more damage that was as extreme as this one. If you have any videos or photos from anything that was damaged as a result last night, we encourage you to submit those to our website at cleveland19.com. Let's see if they're going to go after the back of the home now here. Yep. Just taking that thing apart piece by piece. All right, now that the back of the home is essentially gone there, I want to play for you again. Again, this is going to show you there we go, okay. On the left-hand side, that is what we are looking at live. On the right-hand side, that is the Ring camera, and then what it looked like after that tree had fallen through. So that's what the result was. I think this is a really good left and right view here. You see the results of the demolition. You see on the right-hand side what happened and what led to this demolition and that tree falling on top of that home. Again, Colton Molesky, who's been out there, and again, for those that are just joining us here, 33-year-old killed after a tree fell on a home in Akron due to last night's storms. But look at the damage that was done. And that view there, this video will cycle through, so you'll be able to see this a couple of more times. The view that you can see of the actual hole in the top on the roof of the home, and then all of that debris on the right-hand side shows you just how massive that tree actually was, just how wide that tree was as well. just must have been a horrifying situation, especially, I mean, obviously for the 33-year-old, but those neighbors, when you hear that crashing and the sound of that tree hitting the side of your home, that must have been absolutely horrifying. So again, left-hand side is a live look right now at the demolition that is currently going on for an Akron house, a house that, according to the signage on the home, was being used for student housing. Where this is situated, only a couple of blocks from University of Akron. I'm going to look up the Akron school schedule. So I'm pretty sure they're done, but I just want to double check this. Yeah, so they their final grades were due a couple of weeks ago. So anybody that would have been currently on campus or living around campus, they would have been doing what they call intersection, which is 8 weeks beginning. So it seems like a lot of master's programs, a lot of maybe summer professors would still be around in that area. The last day for the first 8-week session ended today, the 22nd. So it seems like there's multiple different days that or multiple different programs that they offer, but a couple of them are in what they call quote-unquote intersessions. So regular school was not in session. Essentially, the collegiate version of summer school was in operation, and those would have been the classes that some of these students would be doing. So a lot less crowded than it would normally be at a time like this. Imagine if this was a couple of months ago when there's students everywhere. However, still incredibly tragic what we are seeing here. A 33-year-old was killed after a tree fell on the home they were in. Now look at this. So, I mean, this was an hour ago. The video you're seeing on the right was essentially an hour ago or a couple hours ago. And then look, as we bring full, the status of the home now. I mean, I can tell you, Colton Lusky was on our TV, on our air on 19 at about 4:30. The house was up. It's now 4:55. We are 25 minutes from the last update that Colton gave on 19 News, and the home is all rubble. That is how quickly they worked. I'm going to be really curious once we get more of an update from officials to learn why they felt it was such a necessity for this quick demolition. I understand not dragging it out. However, the video that we see and the evidence that we see, I mean, it's a massive hole in the roof. What made them feel like that home had to go down within an hour? Because this thing tore through the home. This does come at a time, obviously, when these homes are not super lived in, so it's unsure how many things are actually in there. If that 33-year-old had roommates, we don't know. We don't know how much stuff was actually physically in there, but just not a lot of time to do anything, it seems, as the home was deemed unfit to keep up. And then ultimately, that demolition continued. So what we're going to do for our digital stream here, we are going to take Colton's live as he goes live at 5 o'clock, and then we're going to wrap this up. If there are any updates, of course, we're going to share it for you on air and online. But we appreciate everybody sticking with us here as we've shown you the demolition of this Akron house following storms last night. I'm going to bring full that video. This is the body cam footage. Or body cam, excuse me. I apologize. The ring camera from the home next door. This is on the left-hand side if you're looking at the street. So you can see, yeah, so okay, look at that, right? That talks about uakronrentals.com. So clearly trying to gauge for students. That's the hole that was in there, and they're using cameras and lifts to try and determine exactly how high or how much needs to be done. Our Colton Lusky is now getting prepared for his appearance on 19 News. Like I said, we are going to take that live for you. You'll hear the updates from him. But again, the video that you were looking at is ring camera and then what happened after that tree came down. It's just, look how deep of a gash that is on the roof. And again, this is student housing, so you're seeing that there. Wanting to know, still some things that we are curious to find out. How many people were living in that home? If it was just the 33-year-old, or if there were more that were potentially living in that home. How many things were gone? And again, why was this needed to happen so fast? Why they felt the need to make sure that this home went down within hours, essentially. I mean, look at the way that snaps off. And you can see on the right-hand side, again, this is going to, let's just click it again here. Look at the right-hand side. Looks like a person, doesn't it?
Is that real? That's real-time vid of the tree falling. That was really good.
So again, watch the right-hand side of the screen. That looks like an umbrella, right? That looks like a person on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen. That is wild. Playing it one more time here. Again, the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, look at that. That looks like a person with an umbrella as the tree falls mere feet from them. It looks like they were walking up to the home that is next door. And then we will cut to what the home looked like after. That's the gash in the roof. You can see the other half of the tree on the right-hand side of it. And you can see the crews trying to discern exactly how they're going to handle that. But the home determined a loss very clearly because the decision was made for them to take trucks in and to bring that to the ground. This is going to recycle in 7 seconds. Again, the bottom right-hand portion of the screen, it looks like somebody had an incredibly close call with that tree almost hitting them. It looks like an umbrella, and then the tree comes down. And for those that have joined us late, a 33-year-old man was killed after this tree fell on the Akron home. This is around 3 blocks from the University of Akron. School is not in session, at least the full-term session. However, it seems that for graduate students and undergrad students, for their form of quote-unquote summer school, there are still people that are doing that, and this is the area where you'd be staying because not a lot of housing, it seems, is provided for students. All right, here, let's bring you live to Colton Molesky.
Along Sumner Street, look at this. Now totally destroyed, brought right to the ground over the last, not even an hour. This started roughly around 4:15, 4:20, and now the home totally demolished. It also gives you a good look at just how much of the tree, that massive tree that went over, is on the other side of the home. Look how big the pieces of trunk are on the other side of that home, and you can see it actually reached over to the other home as well. You can see that neighbor has some damage along the side of that home. And we want to show you, we received from a neighbor who wishes to remain anonymous, some pretty sobering and pretty shocking, scary video of that tree. This is some security camera video of the tree when it was during that storm and it initially fell over. You can see the wind starting to blow, you can see the tree starting to shake, and then it goes over onto that home. And tragically, when that tree went over, there was, according to the county medical examiner, a 33-year-old man who was in the attic, the upper floor of that home, and he died. It took the fire department some time to get the victim out of the building. That's because they want to make sure they're staying as safe as possible.
All right, and that is our Colton Molesky with the latest from Akron. Of course, as any news breaks, if we get any additional updates on this, we'll be able to bring it to you. The one thing that Colton has, is going to continue to look for are these updates as we wait for Colton to get back from, again, as those of you who watch our digital streams know, these are just appearances on TV. Let's go back to Colton.
But before the home was destroyed, there was a banner on the front of the home. There's banners all over this neighborhood. The people that were coming up to the side of the caution tape here, all college students, all advertising towards college students, towards university students. The university is only a few blocks from where I'm standing right here, so definitely a lot of college renters in this area. And as we continue to stay here, they continue to work on this home that's been demolished. They're starting to break apart big pieces of lumber. I believe you saw that earlier. They were breaking apart big pieces of lumber, so they're still working here at the scene. In Akron, Colton Molesky, 19 News.
All right, and that officially is the latest from our Colton Molesky. Of course, if anything else breaks from this story out of Akron, we will provide that to you both on air and online. Want to show you one more time that video of that tree falling and the person on the bottom right-hand portion of the screen almost getting killed by that. Again, much more to come on this, both on air and online, but a home brought to the ground after a tree crashing into it. A very scary scene. That's all, a 33-year-old dead. We will have, hopefully, more updates from police and from fire at some point. For now, I'm Jeff Slauson with 19 News. Have a great day and a great night. We have 19 News at 5 o'clock continuing. Of course, we have about an hour and a half left of our midday block there, so we hope to see you over on CBS.
19 News, now streaming on Samsung Smart TV. Search for channel 1035.